What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love and P Dubs with a live speculation video. Let's get it started.
All right. What's going on, man? How you doing, Carl?
What's going on, P Dubs? Good evening.
Good evening. It is a killer week for arcades. It started yesterday. We predicted it on Sunday. We just did a show together a couple days ago, and my goodness, it's going to be an awesome week, you know. And by the way, guys, ding dong, someone's at the door. Who could it be? It's Michael B, the Game Genie. What's up, brother?
What up, Michael B?
Hey guys, it kind of feels like Christmas Eve, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like a kid. Yeah, I do feel like a kid at Christmas. And hello, everybody in the chat. I love it. People are already typing in their predictions. We're definitely going to talk about it. Now, guys, we had no intention on doing another show for Arcade1Up prior until like Wednesday night or maybe after Wednesday. But they kind of surprised us today. They put something on Twitter and Instagram and on their Facebook accounts, a little teaser pic. So we figured, hey, it might be a good idea for us. Now that we have a teaser, it's time to make our final predictions. And so I definitely wanted to get your guys' thoughts as well as everyone in the chat on what we got going on here. So taking a look, this is the teaser. This is what they sent us earlier today. Released it to the world, right? Now, let's kind of go down the list here. Let's do the first cabinet on the far left. And Carl, if you want to go first, and then Michael, and then myself. What do you guys think? And everyone in the chat, the first cabinet on the left, what do you guys think that is? And go ahead, Carl.
Now, looking at that cabinet, I mean, it definitely doesn't look like a standard joystick there.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, because if you look at any of your arcade cabinets from any angle, those joysticks are farther in. So to me, that looks like maybe like Tron, like a Tron handle.
A Tron joystick.
Yeah. So my prediction is going to be that's Tron there.
So you think that first one is Tron? Okay. And Michael, what do the little kids think? What are they guessing?
My daughter thinks it's Barbie.
She thinks it's Barbie? Okay.
I kind of agree with Carl here. I was looking at it. It doesn't look like a standard controller. Tron is definitely an option. Another one that has kind of been mentioned to me, and I took a look at it. You can't see the driving wheel, but maybe that's a gear shift for Outrun. Okay. If you take a look at the traditional Outrun cab, you can kind of see a gear shift over to that side. I mean, it does look like a standard cabinet. So maybe it's just got the wheel up top, which I don't know how they would do, but possibly Outrun. Worst case scenario, it's Marvel versus Capcom, another fighting game.
Yeah, that's actually my prediction, guys, is I actually just think that's a standard joystick. I don't think that's anything special. And I honestly just think it's Marvel versus Capcom. That photo was leaked way back before CES. And, you know, and in fact, I'm probably going to make a lot of safe predictions tonight. In fact, no, I got 2 safe predictions and 2 that are really far out there. But this one I'm really thinking is just the Marvel versus Capcom cabinet that we saw leaked in that photo. That's what I think we're going to see on that cabinet on the left. I don't think that joystick is anything special, but if I'm wrong and it's something cooler, then I'm wrong.
That's neither a bat top nor a standard ball. So that's either the Tron.
You think so?
That's either Tron or that's the back of the gun for the House of Dead. Come on.
You think so? Okay. Well, hey,
that's one of the 2 guns for House of Dead.
Well, we've talked about it before. I think, you know, Arcade1Up has given us enough fighters and beat 'em ups for now. I would like to see different style cabinets. So if it's Tron, if it's the driving cabinet, maybe it's a stand-up driving cabinet, who knows? But, you know, and by the way, we got a $1.99 super chat from Zohar. He hates everything about this teaser. He gives up. And I think it's because nothing here is apparently a Mortal Kombat cabinet, but maybe Zohar. And here's the thing, guys. This is not all they're bringing. I have a feeling there's more. And in fact, this could just be fake news. You know what I mean? Like, so
I completely agree. This could be completely a red herring to throw everybody off.
Right. Like, I mean, think about it. Arcade1Up, a lot of stuff got ruined for them at CES with the leaks. Now, we've gone through the whole process of saying it was a fake leak and it was a real leak. I can tell you something from what I've heard, just from the folks who I've talked to behind the scenes. It definitely was a real leak from what I've heard. So, that was heartbreaking because, the Universal Pinball and all that kind of stuff was shown Buck Hunter before we needed to see it, right? It kind of ruins the joy. But it doesn't mean they're not faking us out this time. They're trying to protect and make it special. So it could totally be, this could all just be BS. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But okay. So final thoughts on the cabinet on the left. I'm going to play it safe. I'm just going to say Marvel versus Capcom because that's what I think it is. But you guys are thinking Afterburner or Tron, right? Is that what I heard?
It was Outrun
or Tron. Okay.
Now let's have dead with two guns.
Now, obviously, that second machine on right there is obviously a pinball machine. So, what are you guys thinking there? And I definitely want to hear you guys in the chat. What are you guys thinking they're going to announce for a pinball machine?
My favorite is AC/DC. I would love to see an AC/DC pinball or Cactus Canyon. Those are the only two. I mean, obviously with this shadow, there's no way for us to really get it. But those would be the two. But the thing I did stick out here, those feet on there are way more obvious than they were on the cabinets at CES. So I think they definitely are trying to highlight that this thing is going to be able to be tall enough for people, and so they don't have any problems playing it.
Yep, adjustable legs should be on there. The shape of the cabinet definitely appears to be in the same form factor that we saw the cabinet at CES. Now, a lot of folks, it's going like crazy. A lot of them are predicting Universal Pinball. In my opinion, that's what I think it is. I'm playing it safe based upon the leaked photos from earlier in the year. I'm thinking we're going to see a Universal Pinball machine. Now, whether or not they go with Back to the Future or Jaws or what's the other one?
Creature from the Black Lagoon, is that Universal?
Right. But here's my question, though, right? For those of you who have Pinball FX 3, for the Universal tables on that set, there's only 3 of them. Isn't there? There's E.T., there's Jaws, and there's Back to the Future. And these things are supposed to come with, they told us months ago, 10 games, right? So what are the other 7 games they're going to put on here? Or is it going to be 3 games? You just get the 3 Universal games. I don't think anyone's actually talked about that or not yet. Whereas Star Wars, there's about, 15 Star Wars games, something like that on Pinball FX3. So obviously that Star Wars cabinet, they'll be able to pick 10 Star Wars games if it comes with 10 games and stick them on there. But what are they going to put on here besides the 3? Are they going to put, well, then again, Zero Hero just put it in the chat here. Maybe we'll get the Jurassic Park games. There's about 3 or 4 of those games on Pinball FX3. So maybe they'll stick those in there. But why not make it a Jurassic Park cabinet? I don't know. Maybe it's because if it was Back to the Future, that would tug on our heartstrings a little bit more. What do you think, Michael? By the way, guys, Michael was on episode 12, raised his hand every time he wanted to talk. Michael, we're not in class, brother. Just cut me off. I'm a talker. Just cut me off, brother. Just say, shut up, P-dubs. I want to get a thought in.
You mentioned something that I really I don't love about the pinball cabinets. Like, one of the great things about all the arcade cabinets they've released is they're very good at taking the original arcade cabinet and letting us bring that home, the artwork, everything on the side. So far, the Star Wars pinball table is the artwork I don't love. Like, I would have rather loved to see, if it's going to be Star Wars pinball, maybe for them to recreate the old Data East Star Wars table and have that artwork on the side and then have 10 different games. But the generic artwork they have there right now is not making me very excited. Attack from Mars, I'm all in on. If this is the Universal table, I've been nonstop saying it. I hope they do reskin it for the Back to the Future side art. I know they talked about like maybe you could change the back glass, but you know that pinball table is going to be sticking out. You can see it. I want it to look like an actual pinball table. That's what they've done with all their cabinets. I hope that somewhere along the lines they've decided to do that. I think it's going to be universal. I think those are the 3 games. I don't know what else they can put on it. I know everybody would freak out if it's Addams Family because that's the greatest pinball table ever made. If they could have pulled off Addams Family, I mean, they've got a surefire winner there. Everybody will buy that. So I'm going to say I think it's Universal Table, but fingers crossed that it's Addams Family.
Okay. Wow. So Michael B coming out of left field with a big prediction. So, and Carl, what are you thinking? So I said Universal. What was it you said on this one?
I said I didn't have a real guess at what they might. I had more of a wish list. I wanted the AC/DC or Cactus Canyon.
Oh wow, yeah, those are great games. You play those on your modded Toy Shock, don't you? You play those
Absolutely.
games? Yeah, those are great.
Now Spider-Man is the one I play the most. I love that game, but I doubt that they would release that.
Now, as we continue on down the road here, guys, I want to skip the machine next to the pinball, and I want to just head over to the machine on the far right. Because honestly, I think a lot of us are saying that this is potentially the easiest prediction to make, right? That's possibly. Let me get that P-Dubs Loft report off of there. That this is supposedly the Buck Hunter shooting cabinet.
Right. That's pretty obvious with the shotgun and with the top. That I couldn't see that being anything else but Big Buck.
Yep. Let us know, guys, in the chat your comments on the cabinet on the far right. What do you guys think that is? I mean, taking a look at that top ridge of the cabinet, I mean, that looks almost identical to the leaked photo of the Buck Hunter cabinet. So, in fact, I don't know if you guys remember my April Fool's prank I played on the Arcade1Up community where I photoshopped the Buck Hunter cabinet inside my loft and it said, "Thanks Arcade1Up for the demo unit," and everyone freaked out except for the people who realized it was the worst Photoshop in the world, which that was hilarious, by the way. Obviously, it looked just like this thing right here. So now I should Photoshop next that black silhouette in my loft and see if people think I have the demo unit of the cabinet. That would be kind of funny. So, all right. So I'm guessing Buck Hunter. I mean, I don't know what other shooting game it would be, especially because it absolutely matches what we saw leaked at CES. I mean, what do you think, Michael? What do you think, Michael?
The one thing I will say, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Buck Hunter. I'm not super excited about Buck Hunter. I've never played it before, but I know it's going to be a huge cabinet for them, the same way Golden Tee is. Buck Hunter is like a big bar game, so everybody's going to want to have this for their home bar and home arcades. But the one thing I'm noticing is the position of the gun. If you take a look at the Buck Hunter cabinet, it seemed like the guns were put down on the side. This one almost seems like it's almost a little affixed. So if they wanted to, if they were upset about the leak and they didn't want to go ahead with Buck Hunter, maybe they went with like one of the, I forget what the actual name of the brand is, but Chiller was one of them. And they had a fixed rifle in the middle of the arcade cabinet. There was Chiller and Cheyenne. I forget what the name of the company is, but they had a fixed rifle like that. It's probably Buck Hunter, but just the way the back barrel is stuck out there is leaving me to pause because it's so much different than the leaked photo.
Meatball Saucy gave us a $2 super chat. The cab on the left does not have a visible riser. Let's take a look here, guys. Let me get this off of here. And if that's the case, that's going to blow my mind because is that our Pro Series? Is that our full-size cabinets? Hold on. Let me adjust the photo. Let's look over here. As you can see here, take a look at the cabinet on the right of the pinball machine. You can see the little ridges for the riser. But look at that cabinet on the left. I'm not seeing that on that cabinet on the left. You could also see the ridges for the riser on the far right for the Buck Hunter game or the shooting game. But look at that cabinet on the left, guys. There's no riser.
Well, actually, if you go in closer back to that picture.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Yep. What do you see?
What's that I make out? Is that Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat 1 there on the side?
Where at?
No, I'm just saying that for Zohar's benefit.
Zohar, it's possible, buddy, that cabinet on the far left, that's your Mortal Kombat one. I don't know. Can you guys see it? Maybe it's just me. I mean, guys, I wear glasses. Don't make fun of me. I don't have the best vision. So, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, maybe it's there. Maybe it's there.
It looked like it may be a hint on the left side of it, but
maybe on the back side left. Okay.
Yeah, but
all right.
It's not real obvious, that's for sure.
It's because the silhouette is on the back. It's Buck Hunter. Okay, cool. All right. So why would they redo MK? And again, that was probably from my predictions from Sunday, was that, I have a feeling that the Pro Series would be a full-size cabinet with like all the fixins, right? And why not make it a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter or anything like that? Why not? People will buy it, Okay, so we're all thinking that definitely the cabinet on the far right is going to be a shooter. I'm saying Buck Hunter. You guys are saying Buck Hunter.
Same.
Yeah. So maybe they just, for the sake of Photoshop, maybe they just stuck that rifle, the stock from the rifle. Maybe they just stuck it out like that, so we would get excited, thinking that it's actually a gun. We got another super chat from Juan. Thanks so much. SNK. I don't think that's going to happen. Honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that got messed up last year when that got leaked, and it's probably going to happen later, but not this week. I'm not going to predict that. So Killer Arcade Games is here. He was just on our show on Sunday. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. And he's really interested to see the Buck Hunter light gun technology. Can we talk about that real quick before we go to that cabinet in between the pinball machine and Buck Hunter? What do you guys think they're going to do here? I mean, are we talking they're going to have like an infrared light bar sensor mounted in the machine somewhere, and we're just looking at our traditional aim track type light gun technology? Or did Arcade1Up come up with their own Sinden style technology? What do you guys think?
I'm going with light gun.
Like the traditional aim track. Yeah, there's probably a sensor mounted in there. What about you, Michael?
I would have to guess the same thing. I mean, maybe they'll surprise us, but it's more than likely just going to be a sensor. I am concerned about a sensor, though, because I have had some finicky sensors, and I mean, something like that delicate getting shipped.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a risky one.
Yeah.
And my question is, will it just be one game?
I think that maybe it's got 2 Buck Hunter games. Oh, guys, there's
Buck Hunter Pro.
You know what? I think we need help. I think we need a guy who is a tech guru. If only there was one nearby. Hey, Nostalgia, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good. We're trying to solve the riddle of Arcade1Up light gun technology. Any thoughts on if that cabinet on the far right is a light gun, Steve? And do you think they're just using your typical sensor, light bar sensors, like we've seen on aim track light guns and stuff?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Based off that silhouette, I think it's a light gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be your standard light sensor bar. It's probably going to be built in. And then you'll have options to calibrate it and things like that right in the menu. But
right.
I don't know how that's going to go. I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm concerned, but light gun technology isn't the easiest thing to use or to put out en masse. So I don't know. I have no idea. I could be way off, but that would be my guess. It looks like it's going to be Buck Hunter.
Now you're going to get covered with this comment, Steve. So my apologies, but it's quite kind of funny. It says these are actually part of the new Sega Arcade1Up micro line. They're all 2.3 inches wide. Love it. Thanks so much for that joke. Hey guys, when are we going to get our wallet cades? When are we going to have arcade machines built into our wallets? I mean, these machines are getting smaller and smaller, right? Why not? I'd like to pull out my wallet and play some arcade games, while I'm standing in the store. Why not? Or our arcade watches. When are those coming?
Well, we already saw the keychains past weekend.
That would be hilarious. Okay, so that's true. That's true. We got another super chat from Juan. Maybe more like an air mouse. There you go. Maybe more like an air mouse. Okay, guys. So, Steve, Nostalgia, because you joined a little bit late, before we get to the cabinet that I really want to talk about, The first two cabinets starting on the left, what are your predictions for these cabinets? I said Marvel versus Capcom, and I said Universal Pinball. And Detroit Love and Michael, tell Nostalgia what you guys predicted for those first two.
I said it's either Tron or is one side of the House of the Dead Guns, because it's definitely not a standard joystick. That's it's definitely not. It's not a bat top and it's not a ball top.
I agree that it might be Tron, but I think that is the Outrun cab. And maybe one of the reasons that there's no riser is because it opens up so you can put your foot down for the pedal.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's possibly Outrun because I've seen a picture of an Outrun cab and the gear shift is on that side. So possibly.
Yeah, on the right-hand side, right?
Yeah,
maybe. What do you think of Nostalgia? Let the world know.
Well, I just saw these pictures like an hour ago, and I've been running around with the kids, so I haven't spent too much time kind of figuring out what it is. I don't think it's going to be Tron. I don't know why. Just a gut feeling. I would love to see a Tron cabinet. Just for some reason, I got a gut feeling I don't think it's Tron. That being said, what Mike suggested, Outrun, that's entirely possible. I don't know if the cabinet shape is right. I can't recall off the top of my head if that shape makes sense for Outrun, but maybe it does. I might be leaning more towards another fighter, Marvel versus Capcom, potentially. I don't know. The one on the far left is the one that I think that I'm having the most amount of trouble trying to figure out exactly what it is.
Right. And again, we're saving the one to the right of the pinball for last because I really, really want to talk about that one because I'm excited about it. Michael raised his hand. Okay, Michael.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. One thing I'm looking at, and when I first saw this, I thought that the cab on the left just looked like a standard cab. But the more I look at it, it looks like the top is actually slightly different. That is modified. So that's maybe pushing more credence for me with Tron because it looks like it actually goes up square and that the marquee is much higher. But I could be just seeing something, but that doesn't look like the standard top to me right now in the picture I'm looking at here, blown up.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the standard cab, and I think with the lights in the background, them introducing the LED on what was the cabinet they just had the LED on? Is that Star Wars? Star Wars one? Yeah, the sit down one. I definitely can see Tron with the LED on the back. The only thing about the Outrun, in my opinion, is since they've introduced the sit down bench for the Star Wars Star Wars, I couldn't see them releasing one that doesn't have a sit down version for the Outrun. That's the only reason why I wouldn't agree with that. But hey, none of us know.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. So the Star Wars with the bench seat seems to be a lot of people like it. A lot of people want to be able to sit down, relax, and just game, right? So if they made this a stand-up driving or a stand-up flying game, how do you guys feel about that? Or do you think what we'll see is they'll release it as a stand-up like Star Wars, and then 6 months from now, here comes the one with the bench seat? What do you guys think about that? Anybody?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm putting up number two. I agree with you. I think that they'll do both. So you can buy one with the riser and then buy one afterwards with the sit down. But I've always asked the question on this: where does the gas pedal go if you're going to do a driving game? And I mean, with the sit down, you can open up the bottom and put the gas pedal in it. I don't know what you would do with a riser. Like if you have a riser there, how are you going to connect the pedal to the riser? Is it going to be freestanding?
It would have to be like the what's right behind me here, the golf game, where it comes with the riser, and the riser would have to be equipped with that.
Yeah,
out the gate.
Yeah.
And
I would
I
definitely agree with that.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I agree with you. I think that would make the most amount of sense.
And P-Dubs, definitely with the two versions, because it's a cost thing, right? You know, they obviously want to get them out the door. The sit down version would definitely will cost more, and so you definitely get people interested in it, and then get people the one with the higher cost option of the sit down version. But the sit down version is a no brainer for the driving one for sure. But clearly they have plenty of stand up versions of driving games.
Yeah.
I don't know. The more I look at this thing, I I'm not convinced it's a driving cab. I mean, in my heart, I want a driving cab so badly, but I don't know if I'm convinced that this is it. I don't know if I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that angle on any standard Arcade1Up, you wouldn't see the joystick. You wouldn't see the joystick at all. Only way you would see a joystick with that position if you was looking at this from the rear. That's the only way you would be able to see that joystick in that position, is if I was standing behind at the corner looking at the back of that thing to the front. That's clearly not a fighter game. I can't see that.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was just playing it safe. Like I said, I was going to try and make safe predictions, except my prediction for the third cabinet is a little wild. Okay, so let's move on to that third cabinet there to the right-hand side of the pinball machine. I'll go last. Detroit Love, what are you thinking is right there for this cabinet? And also, guys in the chat, throw it in there.
To me, this one is a no-brainer. That cabinet is not shaped like the standard cab. That cab is shaped just like this one behind me, golden T. So I'm predicting that is a Silver Strike by itself, or the Silver Strikes / Golden T combo machine.
Okay, respectable. What about you, Michael? What do you got?
It's Miss Pac-Man. I don't want it to be Miss Pac-Man. I want it to be Donkey Kong, but it's Miss Pac-Man.
You're thinking Miss Pac-Man, okay? Yeah. Steven?
It's Miss Pac-Man. I mean, I can't say for sure, but that was the cabinet that stood out most to me. And then I went and found a picture of a Miss Pac-Man cabinet that's in the exact same angle, and I was like, "This is the same cabinet." I think it is, which is interesting because AtGames owns parts of the rights to Miss Pac-Man. So the whole idea of the licensing blows my mind, but I mean, anything's possible. Money talks. So,
well, I mean, AtGames, with the way it works is they're entitled to a share of the royalties, right? So, I mean, essentially Arcade1Up would be working for AtGames, distributing a Miss Pac-Man machine, but maybe Arcade1Up doesn't care. Maybe they're like, you know what? Our fans want us to make this machine. It's going to happen. Now, when you took a look at the shape of that particular cabinet, guys, that cabinet matches the 40th anniversary Pac-Man cabinet. Identical match, right? And guess what happened, guys? In 1981, you had your Galaga and Miss Pac-Man combo, right? So and guess what, guys? 2021, next year, is the 40th anniversary of that cabinet. So my prediction is, guys, that it is a Miss Pac-Man Galaga 40th anniversary reunion cabinet. That is what I'm going with. As you can see here on this one, it matches the shape of the cabinet. We've seen this on the Pac-Man 40th. And think about it. If you could get Pac-Man 40th and Miss Pac-Man 40th side by side, matching cabinets, that's sexy. In my opinion, that would be very, 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 very sexy. So now that I threw this up, let me know what you guys think in the chat, as well as can I get the panel responses as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I would buy Miss Pac-Man. So, and Galaga is my game. So, if that was the case, I would definitely buy that cabinet.
Yeah.
Michael? I would. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's Miss Pac-Man. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about with your suggestion is Galaga just came out on Pac-Man 40th too. So, I mean, it would seem like a little bit of double dipping from them to have Galaga on the Miss Pac-Man cab too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, what if you could play Galaga side by side with a friend, right? You know, let's all go.
Well, that's that, yeah.
But then again, it's probably going to have, we would assume, 7 or 8 games on it, right? Just like the Pac-Man 40th, and maybe Galaga's just in there, right?
That's true.
You know,
right? Because you definitely wouldn't just want to have Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man on there. I would not like that.
Right. I mean, John D himself has said on a few of the Talking Head shows he's been on that we would end up seeing the same games or reiterations of games or reiterations of cabinets time and time again, right? I mean, as they improve and as they come up with these great ideas, we'll see games on repeat. We've already seen cabinets on repeat, right?
Mhm.
I mean, geez, they've released like what 6 ways to buy Pac-Man already, and I guarantee you there will be more. We're gonna keep seeing Pac-Man included somewhere on an Arcade1Up cabinet. So, but I think that the demand, maybe Arcade1Up said, forget it. You know what? All they have to do is pay At Games some royalty rights. I mean, not all of it, just part of the royalties go to At Games. Maybe Arcade1Up says, I don't care, but we want to do this for our fans. And if they did that, if they put aside the competitive differences between the companies and did this for the fans, I would be, that's a win in my book, right? That would be a win in my book for Arcade1Up. Let me know what you guys think about that.
I personally think that it doesn't even matter what they decide to bundle in. If it is Miss Pac-Man, they could literally just release a Miss Pac-Man on its own, and it would sell as good as anything else. My guess is if this is a Miss Pac-Man cabinet, it's going to be their #1 seller out of any cabinet that they've ever produced.
Yeah,
even
I agree
NBA
with
Jam? Even NBA Jam and all
this is going to blow it out of the water. If they do a Miss Pac-Man, it has I think the widest appeal, and people have been screaming for this since Wave 1. So I have no doubt that this would be their #1 seller.
Yeah. My prediction is this gets announced. The next day they announce we just hit 2 million cabinets sold.
If they can produce the cabinets timely, I agree. It will outsell NBA and any other cabinets because Pac-Man in itself is popular as heck, but Miss Pac-Man, that's a totally different game. It's a much better game than regular Pac-Man.
I love Miss Pac-Man more than regular Pac-Man. I absolutely do.
So I got a suggestion. We keep talking about they could bundle a bunch of different games, but one thing we haven't seen with any of the Pac-Man releases so far is there's mod versions of Pac-Man where you can do Pac-Man and then there's Pac-Fast, which is a faster game. So one of the things that they could throw into the Miss Pac-Man cabinet is they could have Miss Pac-Man and then Miss Pac-Man Fast, Pac-Man, Pac-Man Fast. They're basically just better versions or different versions of the same game.
And I agree. I like Galaga Fast better than the regular Galaga.
The rapid fire.
So they could give you Fast Galaga as well, and I would love that.
Yeah. Hey, Nostalgia, why do you think they don't let us access the dip switch settings on these emulators? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, we're grown adults. If we want to switch Galaga to fast mode, we should be able to on our cabinets. Why do you think they won't let us do that, buddy?
Warranty is going to be my #1 guess. Somebody who has some experience with that. I've actually got a ton of experience in terms with that specifically. And you can really mess up software if you do the wrong thing. We saw that with Mortal Kombat. I think people were messing around with the settings in there, a couple brick systems. I just think it becomes a headache to Arcade1Up if they've got a bunch of people calling, playing around with dip switches, setting the wrong settings in, and ending up bricking the actual boards and shipping that out.
Yeah. Before we move on, guys, we did get a super chat from Mark Walsh. Thank you so much. Do any of the silhouettes show to you a huge announcement that shows their future like they've been hyping? Thoughts? In my opinion, no. And my apologies for that. And here's my thought process, guys, right? Let's say they release a shooting cabinet and Outrun or Afterburner as a stand-up cabinet. And obviously, Universal Pinball, and then what if that cabinet is like Miss Pac-Man? Like, do you guys think that lives up to them saying that? Because remember, this was Scott Bacharach's words. He said the whole future of our business model is being revolutionized, or something like that. Remember that? He's like major bombshell changes to their business was going to be happening. Now, if these are the cabinets, and our guesses are right, do you think they did that with this? In my opinion, no. I think it's super cool that they would release a shooting cabinet and a driving cabinet, but I don't find it revolutionary. What do you guys think?
Well, I would say if they release a shooter, Miss Pac-Man, or even the Silver Strike with the Golden Tee bundle, and definitely a driving game, I say it's going to revolutionize their business if they can keep up with demand.
Okay. What about you guys?
My thought is it depends on how they position it. If that shooting cabinet is not going to rely on a light sensor and they've developed their own technology that doesn't require a light sensor and is really accurate, that is game changing. That's game changing not only in terms of arcades, but in any sort of gaming in general. We don't have a solid LCD light gun that works without some sort of a light sensor. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's entirely possible that they do live up to that statement.
Yes. Yeah. If they developed an amazing new piece of technology, yeah, I would jump on that side of the line for sure. But if it's just an infrared sensor, I mean, I'm not gonna say they revolutionized it. You know what I mean? Because we could do that today. We could put an aim track light gun in any Arcade1Up machine and do the same thing that they just accomplished. So I really think that obviously this isn't their full deck of cards. I'm really hoping that they shock us tomorrow. You know, I'm still hoping we see and I'm hoping that they actually give us some firm details on their pinball machine. Are they going to let us download and buy more games? Games dropped a huge bombshell yesterday with the ability to bring your own tables and all that kind of stuff. So it makes you kind of second guess. Do I want to buy 3 Arcade1Up pinball? And let me ask this question for all 3 of you guys. Do I want to buy 3 Arcade1Up pinball machines for $1,500 to access 30 games, or do I just want to buy 1 pinball machine? And of course, this could also vary by user preference. But go ahead, Michael. What do you guys think?
I would definitely buy 3 separate pinball tables if they were designed and the aesthetics were like classic pinball tables. I will die on the cross of saying this. I hate the fact that Universal, if the leaked image is true, and Star Wars are just generic multi-tables, like their artwork. I am definitely going to buy Attack from Mars. I can't wait to get that. I don't even have any interest about the other games on the table. I just know it's Attack from Mars, and it looks like Attack from Mars, so I'm excited. The other 2, I'm the biggest Back to the Future fan in the world. I had a Back to the Future themed wedding, and the Universal table does not interest me right now if it's what we saw so far. So you didn't ask me about what I thought about the big announcement.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man. we got a big panel. You
didn't raise your hand, so that threw him off.
That's what it is.
Michael, I'm used to you raising your hand.
Right.
You know?
See, the minute he tell you not to raise your hand, then now you.
I forget all much you were there. I'm so sorry, brother. I'm so sorry.
No,
but go ahead.
Okay, but we talked about this a little earlier. There's a possibility all those shadows they showed us is nothing. Like, that's just them messing with everybody, trying to build up hype for tomorrow. Maybe it's something completely different.
It's all fake.
There's been too much talk about 2 things coming from everybody from Arcade1Up. Ferrari cab and talk about a cab with a bigger screen. None of those images look like it showed that. So I'm thinking that if they're talking about something that's going to revolutionize things, I think they're going to come out with their own concept of a bigger multicade that might be their premium cabinet. That's a competitor, if not successor to the At Games Legends Ultimate, possibly. And there's going to be some kind of driving cab, and I don't think it's going to be stand up. Like, honestly, I mean, the Ferrari cab is probably, that's probably the premium cab. But I'm reading so much into it that Ferrari sounds a lot like Outrun. I don't know, but I think maybe there's a lot of truth to this, but whatever the big announcement is, it's not in those shadows.
Yeah, I agree. I think whatever's big is definitely not in those shadows, and hopefully they'll surprise us. Hopefully we'll see something truly breathtaking tomorrow. Like, we all want to have that moment, like where they pulled the sheet off the Star Wars cabinet. When they pulled that sheet off, I think everybody who watched it had that moment, right? We all were like little kids again going, oh, I want that moment tomorrow, Arcade1Up. I hope you can deliver. You know what I mean? I hope you can give us that moment. I hope there's a surprise. And I hope you guys agree with me. Because if it's all stuff that was leaked previously, like, it kind of ruined it for us, right? Like, if I see a Universal pinball machine tomorrow, guys, I'm going to be like, it's cool. I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to have that moment, right? Because we saw it in the leaked photos. So I'm really hoping they knock it out of the park tomorrow. And also, too, I really hope Arcade1Up. Let's go back to pinball real quick, because we were going to go in that direction. What are you guys thinking about their pinball what could they announce tomorrow that would make you still want to buy that cabinet versus now competitor cabinets? What do you guys think? You know, they had the one up on the Toy Shock, but now that at games, I mean, keep in mind it's just a spreadsheet, and you know, we'll get excited about spreadsheets. You know what I mean? Just like other guys get excited about silhouettes, right? So you know, we're going to get excited about a spreadsheet. So, what do you guys think? What's it gonna take for you guys to still buy that Arcade1Up pinball machine?
They got to be themed. They've got to be themed. I think that the idea of Arcade1Up entering into a market where you've got downloadable games onto their devices is completely out of what they've been doing in terms of their business model. It seems like they would almost be trying to do a parallel business model, and I don't think that makes sense. They've had so much success with throwing 3, 4 games on a cabinet or on a pinball machine, in this case 10 games. But the idea is that they handpick very select games that a lot of people really like. They theme their product and they sell that, and they almost become like collectible cabinets. Now they're 3/4 scale, but the difference between what Arcade1Up does and what At Games does, At Games it's a multicade. You only need one. You're only ever going to buy one.
Right.
There's never any reason to buy a second. Whereas Arcade1Up, I mean, I've got 9 of them. And the reason I have 9 of them is because they have, I mean, different artwork. They've got different styles, different controls with each cabinet. And they almost, I don't want to say they're pieces of art, but they almost are like artistic pieces that could be used in a game room or a collection or whatever. So I think as long as they stay on brand with what they've done in the past, then I'm going to support that.
What about you guys? What do you guys think?
Well, I love my Spider-Man cabinet, but I play a lot of other games on there. It's got, I think, 200 tables, but I only play within probably 15 of them, you know, regularly.
Right.
But I would much rather be able to play the 10 games that I absolutely want to play versus 10 games that may suck. You know what I mean? So that's where it is for me. If they can produce a product that looks nice and have very fun games, then it's a no-brainer. But if they put some sucky and then you don't play it, that would be horrible. Now, if At Games can come out with a table that I can put modern day or even the old school games on there, and I can put the handful of games that I actually want to play, even if it looks terrible like their cabinet, you know, I can skin it like I did this one.
Yep.
And it looks the way I want it, and I'm playing the games I want it. So, like I always say with any of these things, the more options that we have is better for the market, because no one company's going to hit it right for everybody. And so I actually hope that Arcade1Up can produce a product that people like, that looks really nice, and has some decent games on it that they can enjoy playing. But I still want the At Games to be able to not be vaporware here and actually produce a product that's playable and that we can add some pretty sweet game, you know. Because if I can't put AC/DC on it, it may not be worth playing, you know.
You just want to rock out the AC/DC, man. That's we all know what happens when he's not on camera. What about you, Michael? Because I'm poking the bear with this question, so I definitely wanted to start the conversation, and then I'll give it a final thought here.
Yeah, well, I'll go back. I kind of said this already, and Nostalgia really said it much more intelligent than I did, but I really just want the cabinets to look like actual pinball machines. I want Star Wars to look like the Deities Star Wars pinball table. I want Universal to either be, well, of course, I want it to be Back to the Future, or I want it to be Jaws, or I want it to be E.T. I don't want to see the Universal logo on the side of the cabinet. Attack from Mars is great. I'm going to buy that one. And that's why I buy Arcade1Up. I mean, I can make my own multicade, or I can buy a multicade. But I buy multiple Arcade1Ups because I want the cabinet. I would love the idea of having an arcade in my house. And they're going to have the same business model with VPin as long as they do that. But if they make these non-branded multicade tables, which Star Wars looks like, let's be honest, Star Wars just looks like someone made their own at home pinball table and then said, let's put a bunch of random Star Wars art on it. That's what the Star Wars table looks like.
Yeah, and that's the one I want. Like, I don't want the Attack from Mars. I mean, this is what's great is we all have our own opinions, right? Like, I don't want the Attack from Mars. Universal Pinball I would consider, because who doesn't love all those movies growing up? Those were the movies we grew up with, you know. But the one I really wanted was Star Wars, and I really hope they listen to fan feedback. They got plenty of time before this cabinet's released. Change the artwork on the side, make it match closer to, like, even though a lot of the Pinball FX3 tables for Star Wars are Clone Wars tables, and what else? The Force Unleashed tables, like not the Force Unleashed. Oh God, what is it? You guys know what I'm talking about. The cartoon that's on the animated cartoon. They have a couple of the
Clone Wars.
Yeah, there's another one. There's another one that was made after Clone Wars. Maybe somebody in the chat will throw it in there. But a few of the Star Wars Pinball FX3 tables are based upon like that cartoon, the cartoons, and the second generation of movies like episodes 7, 8, and 9. And so obviously you're going to get an abundance of those games included out of your 10 games, right? But still, I think Arcade1Up, even though you might have 7 of those games and then the original 3 games, you should put the original artwork on there, right? Like, I want to see Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie on both sides of the cabinet, Darth Vader, the Emperor. I don't want to see anybody else. You know what I mean? I don't want to see any of this crap that came out since it's after the year 2000. Like, I don't want to see any of that on the cabinet. But that's the one I want the most. And my final thought, and the reason why I poked the bear on that question is I have a feeling that when it comes to the Arcade1Up pinball line, it is going to be successful. It's going to be very, very successful for them, because you are going to have the same situation we're in today. Those who want a multicade experience from At Games will buy an At Games. Those who want to have a full arcade or a full pinball lineup, they're going to go Arcade1Up, right? And they're not going to care that they could play 800 games on one machine. They're going to be happy with those 10. And that they have a line of them, right? Like a whole collection of Arcade1Up pinball machines. So I think, honestly, that, you know, although we poked the bear, we're going to be in the same situation we're in today, guys. Here's the thing, guys, there's not going to be a wrong answer. It's whatever you want. Buy what makes you happy. And I think all of us are going to be satisfied. So what do you guys think about that?
I think you're spot on. I mean, the idea is that when you look at the arcade cabinets, obviously I've got Arcade1Up, and I've obviously got an At Games unit, and there's absolutely no game that I have on Arcade1Up machines that I can't run on the At Games unit, but yet I'm still interested in purchasing more Arcade1Up cabinets. And the reason for that is exactly what you said, is it's a standalone unit. It is on its own. It's nice. It's got its own set of controls. And if you're looking for that experience, you want to play that cabinet, that's the best way to have it. Throwing Street Fighter up on the At Games unit, you still get the experience of playing the game, but there's something to be said about actually playing it on a cabinet that looks like a Street Fighter cabinet. So,
and not just look like, too, you know, a button placement in a familiar place to where you are used to playing versus trying to guess which button is I'm going to use for Street Fighter or for Galaga, wherever the case when you get those multi-cades. But I do want to correct you, P-Dubs. Attack from Mars is a sweet pinball, and you need to watch your mouth, okay? Because that's and Revenge from the Attack of Mars, both of the games. And I don't like the FX3 type tables. I like the more traditional tables.
Right.
And granted, I've said this a million times, I didn't grow up playing a whole lot of pinball because I just couldn't afford to waste a quarter on it. But I like the standard ones. But the Attack from Mars, the old way and the new way, is one of the very few games that I do like. The way they put the 3D elements into it. Some of them is overkill, like the fishing one. They just they do too much. But but I do. Attack of Mars is a fun pinball game.
Well, according to the legendary John Riggs, you are the pinball wizard, my friend. So that's for sure. And thanks, guys, in the chat for helping me out. I don't even watch the show because I think it sucks. Is that Star Wars Rebels? But yeah, there's a few of those Pinball FX3 Star Wars games which could possibly be included on the Arcade1Up Star Wars machines, are like the Rebels games, right? And there's like 2 or 3 of them, I think. I'd have to go look. There's just so many, right? But still, you know, I want the original characters on the side of that Star Wars pinball machine, you know.
Do you want the original characters, or do you want an original table? I'm asking, what do you want here? I know what I want.
Well, what do you mean? Define original table? You're talking about like the original Star Wars like artwork itself, or the character?
Yeah, artwork from the Data East table or an older table on one of these games. Preferably the Data East table, which I've said 100 times.
Well, I would like them to recreate that original Star Wars artwork as closely as possible. But keep in mind, guys, due to licensing, everything needs a damn license, right? Like you guys, they've even mentioned it, like the Frogger cabinet. You guys notice that the frog on the side of the cabinet different than what the original one was, and so it's like
But
they might have to tweak. They might have to tweak the Star Wars artwork.
That Frogger cabinet's a real shame because Frogger should be a no-brainer, and I've seen no positivity for that. People complaining about the joystick, they say it's another Burger Time issue, and the artwork on the side even the marquee's different. Like they don't even have the blue marquee. I mean, it's a gray marquee now. I'll get off this one now, but Frogger's also a miss.
Okay, guys, let us know in the chat below. Is anyone going to buy the Frogger cabinet? And I'm sure some people will, but I'm not. I have no interest. What about you, Nostalgia, Carl? Are you guys going to get Frogger?
No, I'm not going to be bothering with Frogger too much. It's a classic game, but I was never excited about it when I first saw it being released. It's not a game that I ever really played, or even now have ever gotten into. Well before my time. And I mean, don't shoot me, but I'm not even that big of a Seinfeld fan. So like, I mean, that whole episode went right over my head, and like, it's not my jam.
Oh my God.
Frogger's a pretty fun game, but it can't hold its own as a whole cabinet, not in my book.
You know what?
But people like Star Wars. I mean, I'm sorry, Space Invaders, and I wouldn't buy that as a standalone cab.
I shouldn't put this up, but I'm gonna put it up on the screen, guys. What I've noticed about YouTube, and keep in mind, I'm still technically kind of a newbie, is when you do a live stream, people will be 100% honest in your chat room, and when I see stuff like this, it just this is the stuff that tickles my funny bone. Thanks so much, Agent Hunk, for that.
And I see Rex is gonna unsubscribe from my channel since I don't like Seinfeld too. So,
oh really?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Well, not that big of a loss. It's only -1. No, I'm kidding, Rex. I'm kidding. We all love you, Rex. And I sent Rex the link. He just won't join us. He's a punk.
So, I mean, the Seinfeld episode of Frogger was incredible, and I love Frogger. I absolutely love it. I'm 100% serious now. I don't want to buy that cabinet because it doesn't look like the original cabinet. That bothers me enough that otherwise I would probably buy this, even though I'm not familiar with Time Pilot, and I'm really hoping they throw some other kind of vertical Konami game on there, possibly. But I would buy Frogger if it looked like Frogger. I would be tempted to buy it.
And the thing about arcades, period, back in the day, was it was location based, and whatever you had near you is what the hell you played. So you know what I mean. So there's a lot of people out there that Frogger was all they had. They didn't have all these other games. So for them, that's the game they're excited for. When they see Frogger, they're gonna wet their pants because that's what they played through that period that they want to recall. So that's the thing about it. It hits everybody different. Every game hits people differently based on their experiences.
Well, a lot of people have been talking about Dig Dug in the chat, and they've been saying they want a Dig Dug cabinet. Now, in my opinion, I think Dig Dug belongs on an Arcade1Up cabinet, but I don't think it should. It's just me. I don't think it should be a dedicated cabinet. What do you guys think? In the future, 2021, Dig Dug Arcade1Up cabinet, yes or no? And let us know in the chat.
I love Dig Dug. I play Dig Dug. There's a handful of games, and this is in the top 10 that I play. Again, the vertical cabinet is my cabinet. I don't go over to this Street Fighter unless I have somebody over most of the time. If I'm playing for a few minutes here, I'm going on here, and Dig Dug, I play a lot, but I don't know that I would get the cabinet. The cabinet doesn't stand out in my mind, artwork wise. Again, a lot of these cabinets, they're all clustered together in the arcades, and you didn't see anything but the front of it and the marquee. You know, things like Centipede. Once you saw it, that image just sticks with you, right?
Wow.
But Dig Dug, you know, that's not something that would just trigger my my mind to say, yeah, I got to have that. Now, once it comes out and I see it, maybe that's something different. But I would say no at this point in time.
Wow, the chat just blew up when I said that. There are a lot of people who would buy a Dig Dug cabinet. I just probably wouldn't be one of them. I have it in the countercade, and the countercade is cool for like modding, like turning it into a multi-cade bar top, in my opinion. But I didn't realize there was this big of a fan base. Oh my goodness, a Dig Dug, Mr. Do, Dig Dug and Mr. Do.
Yep, Mr. Do's pretty fun too.
All right, I'll own it. Go ahead.
Dig Dug was featured in season 2 of Stranger Things too, which has brought a lot of interest on it. You remember that episode, Mad Max? That was the score that it was on. Now, Nostalgia, tell me, I know you say you don't like Seinfeld. You at least like Stranger Things, right?
I do, very much.
Okay, we're safe then.
Okay. I've got a couple points back there.
Yeah. So it was featured in that. It was also on the Pac-Man head-to-head cabinet, which I found it really strange Dig Dug wasn't included on the 40th anniversary because they included Galaga. It would have been nice to include Dig Dug too because it was on the 40th anniversary. The only thing I can think of is they didn't want to have the exact same games on both cabinets, or maybe they're saving Dig Dug for something else. I think there's a market for Dig Dug personally.
Okay.
I would agree that there's a market for Dig Dug. I just don't know if it's wise to make it kind of the flagship game on a specific cabinet, because you might run into the same problem you did with Frogger. Unless they get the proper artwork and they get the proper cabinet shape and they get all of those pieces come together, you're going to end up with a bunch of people saying, no, I don't want it. If it looked more original, maybe I'd buy it. But I think that in a situation like that, you'd end up with a hard pass, and it's not a good financial decision from them. I think it's a safer move to add that game into another cabinet that's going out. And I guess it's just an extra game on there that helps the sale of another cabinet rather than depending on people wanting that specific look for a cabinet.
And I agree, because I think the 40th edition of Pac-Man, if it had Dig Dug on it, I think I would consider it, buying it, even though it has that ugly wood grain on it. But I think I would consider getting, because I have tons of room down here, so I don't have spacing issues. But I've always been a smart technology person. I don't buy things that I'm not going to utilize. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to get my money's worth out of it. So it's tough. I'm not going to just get it for artwork. If I'm not putting my hands on it on a consistent basis, I'm just not going to spend my money on it, period.
Now, do you guys think if Arcade1Up is not going to release Pro Series cabinets where you can download and add more games, like legally licensed games to your system, if you will, do you guys think that they should increase the amount of included games moving forward? Or do you guys think 3 to 5 games minus the occasional anomaly is still fair? And also let us know in the chat. Do you guys still want 3 to 5 games per machine? Or do you guys want, let's put like 7 to 10? What do you guys think?
I'm probably going to be hated for this, but I'd go the opposite. If you're going to do a pro line of cabs, I don't want to see a pro as in the At Games Legends Ultimate. I want to see. I'd be fine with one dedicated game. If it has perfect controls and it's full size, the original cabinet, as close as they can get it, I would pay money for that. I don't care how many games are on it, as long as it's the original cabinet done perfectly right. Can you imagine like a Burger Time that has exact Burger Time controls with the full side panel, exactly like the original? Because they did a really good job with the Burger Time. I didn't get mine yet, so I can't tell you how good it is. But can you imagine? Because really the cabinet has a different shape than what we got. Like they did a really good job, but the actual original one, I'd pay full money for that.
Okay.
I think I don't think that if you said a store, right? I wouldn't want the store to allow me to buy any game. I think it'd be like one thing like Rampage with Defender on it. That just was horrible. So I wouldn't. I think it would hurt their business if people are able to buy games that's not going to complement the cabinet and the controls that are on there. So I would say that if I had the standard Pac-Man game, but I wanted to buy Galaga for it.
Mhm.
You know, that would make sense. You know what I mean? So if I can buy a small select of games to add to those particular cabinets, say like my Golden Tee, if I was able to download, Silver Strike to that particular cabinet, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to put Street Fighter, obviously I couldn't, right? Or even Centipede. I definitely wouldn't want them to allow you to be able to buy like a horizontal game for a vertical cab or a vertical cab. You know, they have to be smart, because some of these choices they do, I think, is just really silly. But if they do it and keep it that way, I think it would be an excellent thing to be able to add some extra revenue. Like you said, if you have 1 million cabinets out there and everybody buy Miss Pac-Man or whatever game Galaga onto a new machine for $10, you know, that's huge money.
Yeah, I've tried to be honest with my viewers in my reviews of my Arcade1Up cabinets, especially recently, because now I try to look at them a little more critically. I don't just unbox them, build them, and start filming. Actually spend some time with the cabinets, you know, especially guys. There's a lot of guys jumping into YouTube. I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of guys making Arcade1Up videos now. Like, everyone's jumping on the train. There's a lot of guys that have less than 500 subscribers that are just popping up. You know, and I'm definitely not like a seasoned vet. You know, I'm still technically kind of new. My advice to all you guys is don't unbox it and start filming a review. Spend some time with it. Make sure you make an informed opinion about the product. Don't rush a review to be first. And because then you end up looking silly. You know what I mean? And the more time you actually spend with Arcade1Up cabinets, you will find that they are flawed. Arcade1Up is not perfect. And I've taken some heat because I haven't been like, go buy the Pac-Man cabinet, it's amazing, like some other YouTubers. The cabinet's a 6 out of 10. It's got a lot of flaws. The Burger Time cabinet, I rated it a 7 out of 10. It's got a lot of flaws, like Detroit Love pointed out, with the control scheme, with the fact that we have a mixture of horizontal and vertical games on a vertical screen. You know, it's just stuff that, you know, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Why even include those games if you can't get the controls or the screen to match? You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think about that? Like, I think we should definitely be honest with everybody and say, hey, Arcade1Up is not perfect, and they need to hear the negative feedback as well as the positive feedback. I'm not an Arcade1Up fanboy, but I'm definitely going to be like, if Arcade1Up does something cool, you guys have seen my video. I've made over 50 Arcade1Up videos, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. I've said this is awesome 100 times. I'm allowed to say this needs improvement a few times, right? What do you guys think? Should Arcade1Up be held to a higher standard moving forward? Are they still a toy company, or are they now like a full-fledged gaming company? What do you guys think? Anyway.
I was going to say, my perspective is that I don't think they are a toy company. I think when they brought these products out, I think they were trying to market towards a much younger demographic. And we saw that in a lot of their adverts. You had essentially videos of kids playing these cabinets. And I think that when people our age and older, I guess my age and older, I think I'm the youngest one here, ended up buying these things, they were like, okay, wait a second, hold on, let's put the brakes on, let's reassess our business plan and shift gears. Because now you're not really going to sell a Dig Dug cabinet to a 6-year-old. They're going to have zero to no interest in it. But that's going to appeal to somebody in their 45 plus years. So I think the idea there is that they certainly aren't a toy business anymore. They aren't a toy brand. I don't know if I would say they're a full-on video game,
right,
in that video game market. I think they're more of some like a niche collectors type of market. I mean, 1 million cabinets sold is a lot, but how many cabinets do you own? I mean, we're still talking about a very niche market that's buying more than one cabinet, which is why they're amounting to such high sales. So I think that they don't necessarily need to be held to a higher standard, but they need to be held to a high standard. If they're going to be producing products and they're going to be selling these items for a premium, then people should be getting a good quality product. It should be built well, manufactured properly. We shouldn't have issues with screen tearing. We shouldn't have issues with dead pixels on our LCD screens. Those are all things that should be weeded out as quickly as possible. We're now going on to wave 4. Those problems should be a part of the past.
Yeah. Michael, you look like you're about to raise your hand.
Yeah, so if we're going to talk about accountability and being held to a different standard,
Right.
I'll go there and I'm going to get myself in trouble. But I'm really irritated by the fact that it seems like their service has changed in the last little while. It used to be with Arcade1Up support, if there was a problem with your cabinet, whether it was a problem with shipping, like something got damaged, you could contact Arcade1Up support. But now the message that has come out is only if it affects the gameplay. And I've said this a lot. We don't buy these cabinets for the gameplay. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can play these cabinets on play these games on a multi-paid, other ways that are cheaper. We're not buying them for the gameplay. We're buying them for the experience and actually having the physical cabinet. So if we get a cabinet where the marquee is broken, or there's light bleed on the screen, or the side panels are beat up like your Pac-Man was, 100% they should be accountable for making sure those cabinets are in great shape, because we're buying the functional furniture collector piece cabinet. That's really what we're paying for, not the game, because there's a million different ways we can play this. So it bothers me that they're taking that stance right now, and that affects my liability with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Arcade1Up put all their cards on that little teaser today, guys. I think that there's definitely going to be some surprises tomorrow. I'm excited to see them, just like all of you. I really hope we see something incredible that gives us that goosies. I want to have goosies, guys. So I definitely want to have goosies tomorrow. I don't know about you guys.
I just hope we don't get another Sega announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope we don't get that, where they're saying, oh, we're going to revolutionize the gaming industry. It's going to be crazy. And we get this really dinky Game Gear that only has 4 games that it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I know you're trying to get out of here, but we never talked about some of the games that people have been speculating a lot about, like Dragon's Lair, Q*bert, all those. Like, is there any chance any of those are coming?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they took what was it? They took like a survey, or what was it? There was some hype train.
They were already negotiating with the team for Dragon's Lair. Then they did the survey. And what David McIntosh said was, we lost all our bargaining power because now we have this massive demand from our consumer base. So now we have to pay more to possibly get Dragon's Lair.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Was it if we get so many signatures that they'll make the cabinet or something, or they'll consider making
petition. It? Yeah, it was a petition.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any news about it since. Have you guys seen any news? Do you think we'll get Dragon's Lair? That would be kind of cool. I mean, I like Dragon's Lair. That would be kind of cool.
I thought it was a cool game, but it was just a very difficult game.
It's stressful. It's a rager. You'll have rage.
It was difficult, and I think how much was it to play? 50 cents compared to every other game was 25. So it was also expensive.
And the game is able to be licensed. I mean, New Wave Toys has the license for it. They're going to be producing a cabinet.
Yeah.
It was on Kickstarter. It's going to be shipping in the next, I'm assuming 60 days or so, maybe sooner. But the idea there would be that maybe they did lose potential bargaining power in terms of negotiating because the demand is so high, and whoever owns that license is like, hold on, wait a second, we can squeeze you like a lemon, we can get more. And I mean, it is the world of business, so you never know. I when I saw those petitions going around for signing it to get this cabinet and that cabinet, I personally, just my personal stance is I'd never sign those petitions. Not that I don't want those cabinets, but from a business perspective, having that kind of information out in the public doesn't really benefit Arcade1Up in any way, shape, or form, because it puts them at a disadvantage. Then you've got all these companies that are saying, hey, we know your client base is going to buy this, and we know you want it, so we want to charge you X amount more for this specific title. And then it becomes this whole thing about return on investment. Is it going to be worthwhile to produce it? You've got to factor in the service that has to go along with it for defective parts, broken parts, whatever it happens to be. And you end up burning a bridge that way. So, I mean, I would love to see a Dragon's Lair cabinet. I do love that game.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, taking a look at the chat, I think some folks would love to see Dragon's Lair 1, 2, and Space Ace. Look at Devil Waldo right here. Dragon's Lair 1, 2, and Space Ace. That would be really, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, in my opinion. I like those games. They're stressful, but I like them.
You got to get emulation perfect for that, though.
Yeah,
Dragon's Lair is notoriously difficult to emulate, especially on underpowered hardware. So
I got a question for you guys.
Sure.
Is there a game that they've yet to make that you would love to see announced tomorrow?
Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Something that actually can happen, because we know Donkey Kong is not going to happen.
Hey, I want to believe, Carl.
I want to believe too. That's one of my favorite games. I love Donkey Kong Jr.
I would love for them to flip the script on us, and they had us thinking it was Buck Hunter, and what if they turn around and it's Terminator 2 as the shooting game instead? I can't remember who has the publishing license for that, but I would love a Terminator 2 Arcade1Up shooting cabinet. I mean, you have the rifles. I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
What else would you put on it?
I wouldn't care. That's all I would play.
The cool thing, Ristaldo might know the answer to this, but Terminator 2 actually isn't a light gun game. It uses kind of like the Star Wars yoke type technology, so they could do it very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. They absolutely could. And that was as soon as I saw the Star Wars yoke, I was like, okay, driving cab is the next logical step, because you could more or less take that and turn that into a steering wheel. You get rid of one of the axes on it, you add additional range, you throw in some pedals, and you've got yourself a steering wheel. So, I mean, from going back to your question, P-Dubs, what I would, or I guess I don't know who asked that question originally, but yeah, so my cabinet that I would love to see is like a Naomi cabinet. I would love to see something that has like Crazy Taxi on it. I'm talking like we're going way ahead. We're not going back in time. We're going more into the later cabinets that were kind of available in arcades. But I would love to see something like a Crazy Taxi driving cabinet. I think that would be incredibly fun to have. I don't know if many people would like that, but I know I loved Crazy Taxi. I still love it. I play it on Dreamcast all the time. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
I would love to do Taxi. Crazy Taxi or Daytona USA.
Daytona USA would be awesome too.
Okay, awesome. Now, one last topic here, because I know we've gone a little bit over than our allotted time. One last topic. What was in the Scott Bacharach video? He was talking about the one that got put up by Arcade1Up on their own personal YouTube channel, then it got taken down, right? Because it revealed too much. He was talking about like a legacy. What was it? A legacy cabinet or a legacy something? Legacy table?
Infinity gaming table.
Yeah, Infinity. That's the word. Infinity. Yeah. So what do you guys think that is? Let us know in the chat what you guys think that is. What would you like it to be? And do you guys think maybe that'll be the big secret surprise revealed tomorrow?
It could be. I think it's board games. So it's going to be basically a table that has just a bunch of different board games on it. You can play Monopoly, you can play Clue, and it's all in there, and it's all virtual.
Okay. That would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, we all loved playing those games when we were kids, right? Until we found the video games. What do you think, Carl? Do you think that's what it is?
I never saw the video. I never saw that before they pulled it down, so I never saw that.
Yeah, he was talking about some kind. Yeah, it was like we have.
No one ever captured. No one captured it and saved it, huh?
A few people did.
On the internet, it's there forever. So
yeah,
I had to search for it because I haven't seen that video.
Yeah, you can find it. It's out there, or just call Toycade. He's our super sleuth. And Michael Jordan is not an NBA Jam, guys. Man, that would have been so cool. That would have been really, really cool. So
yeah, but that wasn't the game-changing announcement. That's what I couldn't believe. Everybody was like, "Wow, the game-changing announcement is Michael Jordan is going to be in NBA Jam." I'm like, the cabinet comes out in a week. If Jordan was going to be in it, wouldn't you announce that to sell a couple cabinets? It didn't make any sense.
I guess technically it is a game-changing announcement. It does change the game a little bit if you have Michael Jordan in there, but
that game itself.
There's the wife. How's it going, Mrs. Genie? Mrs. Game Genie. So, okay, guys. So I'm really, really hoping that we get Goosebumps tomorrow. So I'm excited for Arcade1Up. I'm excited for the announcements. I'm really hoping they blow us away. And hopefully maybe all these silhouettes were fake news. Hopefully it's a whole new spectrum of stuff that we haven't even thought of, and they're just going to hit us upside the head with it, and it would be quite impressive.
Well, if they get too crazy with it, we'll be back here tomorrow then, same time.
Oh no, I'm tired. I'm exhausted, man. I can't keep doing this every day.
Yeah, it's 9:30 here at my time, so this is late for me.
Yeah, but
some kind of reaction video tomorrow. I mean, you can't not.
Oh no, I don't want to.
And then what video would you have in the next 20 minutes if we didn't have that?
So that's true. Oh, shut up.
You got to do it.
I don't put out that much. I don't put out that much. I don't put out that much.
That's what she said.
Come on. You know, the longer I work with you, Carl, the more you start to haze me. So it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
you know I love you. You know I love you. I'm Detroit love. I can't not.
Yeah, and you know, despite what everyone thinks, I'm really hoping Arcade1Up has an amazing showing tomorrow. So, you know, it would be really cool because I want that feeling. I want that goosebump feeling. You know, I want to be, you know, and if all we see is the stuff that got leaked earlier in the year, it's going to be like a little bit of a disappointment. And that's not Arcade1Up's fault, right? I mean, that photo got leaked. It wasn't their fault, but it kind of ruined it for all of us. Because think about it this way, guys. If that photo never happened and we had no idea, let's say it's Buck Hunter. Buck Hunter was in the works. Can you imagine us like Arcade1Up is making light gun games? Like we would all be so hyped and excited and pumped. And now we're going to be just a little less hyped and excited because it got ruined. It got ruined.
we did see NBA jams early on in the sneak video, and we're no less excited about that.
Well, I think what really
there's still hope. There's still hope for some excitement from you.
Well, yeah. What blew me away was them saying we're going to have net play, right? Like I just thought it was going to be an NBA Jam machine at home, and the net play is what was like. Oh my God, they're getting into the cloud, into connected gaming. That excites me. What were you going to say, Michael?
Yeah, I will say this. Remember, last year they saved their home run, Star Wars 4E3. So they released NBA Jam officially at CES. That was the official announcement. NBA Jam is one of the greatest arcade games of all time. Even arcade collectors that only predominantly fixate on the classic arcade games still need to have an NBA Jam. So if that was released at CES, there is a home run coming tomorrow because it's going to be bigger than NBA Jam. So what could be bigger than NBA Jam?
See, I hope you're right about that because I've noticed a trend with some companies where they make these early announcements saying we've got this crazy, amazing unveiling that's going to happen. And then everyone's got such high expectations that it doesn't even matter what they tell you. You've still got half your base that's a little bit disappointed. And I think that's actually going to work to their detriment in the fact that, like, you look at somebody like Sony or Microsoft, when they've got a big announcement, they don't say anything. Nintendo, you don't know anything until they do their public announcement. Right. And you get so much more hype. So exactly with what P-Dub said, if they hadn't said anything about, if we hadn't seen a teaser for any sort of a light gun cabinet, right? If they were to announce that tomorrow, people would go crazy because nobody would have ever expected that. Nobody would have seen that coming. So I don't know. I'm on the side of they should err on the side of caution and stop giving so many teasers and just slap us in the face with something good. Like that's how I feel.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's what happened with Star Wars last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. That would be really cool.
Yep.
So,
well, I'm going to predict that all three of you guys are going to get slapped tomorrow.
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope so. I really want Arcade1Up to do well tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see some very exciting stuff. And guys, we have gone a lot longer than I thought we would. So
Mike's fault.
It's Mike's fault.
It's all Mike's fault.
So hey, shout out to Michael B, the Game Genie. Thanks for hopping on and letting us know your thoughts. Shout out to my other Canadian brother, Nostalgia. And really happy you came on as well. As always, Carl, I appreciate you as well. Guys, this has been a killer week, and it's just going to keep getting better. I have a feeling that it's going to be nonstop until Friday between what we're hearing from At Games, Arcade1Up, and you never know, Arcade might have something to say by the end of the week as well. So it's a very exciting time for all of us, and I'm just happy to be here. So whenever you're ready, Carl.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see you on the web.
Have a good night.